Hello, I'm Dr. Jim Taylor, and welcome to Prime Sport Alert. This segment of Prime Sport Alert focuses on motivation to achieve your goals. Motivation lies at the bottom of the Prime Sport pyramid. Without your desire and determination to improve your sports performances, all of the other mental factors, confidence, intensity, focus, and emotions, are meaningless. To become the best athlete you can be, you must be motivated to do what it takes to maximize your ability. Simply stated, motivation is the ability to initiate and persist at a task. To perform your best, you must want to begin the process of developing as an athlete, and you must be willing to maintain that effort until you achieve your goals. Motivation in sports is so important because you must be willing to work hard in the face of fatigue, boredom, pain, and the desire to do other things. Motivation will impact everything that influences your sports performance. Physical conditioning, technical and tactical training, of course mental preparation, and general lifestyle influences such as sleep, diet, school or work, and relationships. The reason motivation is so important is that it's the only contributor to sports performance over which you have control. There are three things that affect how well you perform. First, your ability. For example, your physical and mental capabilities. But ability is something that you're born with, and you can't really change your ability, so it's outside of your control. Second, the difficulty of the competition influences performance. Contributors to difficulty include the ability of your opponent and external factors such as an away game, the crowd, and weather such as temperature, wind, and sun. You have no control over these factors. Finally, motivation will impact performance. It is the only factor over which you have total control. Motivation will directly impact the level of success that you ultimately achieve. If you're highly motivated to improve your performances, then you will put in the time and the effort necessary to raise your game. Motivation will also influence the level of performance when you begin a competition. If you're competing against someone of nearly equal ability, it will not be ability that will determine the outcome, whether you win or lose. Rather, it will be the athlete who works the hardest, who doesn't give up, and who performs the best when it really counts. In other words, the athlete who is most motivated to succeed. In training and competitions, you arrive at a point at which it is no longer fun. I call this the grind, which starts when it gets tiring, painful, and tedious. The grind is also the point at which that it really starts to count. The grind is what separates successful athletes from those who don't achieve their goals. Many athletes, when they reach this point of the grind, either ease up or give up because, well, it's just too darn hard. But truly motivated athletes reach the grind and keep on going. Many sports psychologists will say that you have to love the grind. I say that except for a very few hyper-motivated athletes, love just isn't in the cards, because let's be realistic, there's not much to love when you're experiencing the grind. But how you respond to the grind lies along a continuum. As I just mentioned, loving the grind is rare. At the other end of the continuum is, I hate the grind. If you feel this way, you're not likely to stay motivated. I suggest that you neither love nor hate the grind. You just accept it as a part of the deal in striving toward your goals. The grind might not be very enjoyable, but what does feel good is seeing your hard work pay off with success. When I speak to groups of athletes, I always ask how many have big goals, like going to the Olympics or playing pro ball. Of course, about 90% raise their hands. I then ask how many are doing everything they possibly can to reach those high goals. Not unexpectedly, only one or two tentative hands go up. What this tells me is that there's often a big gap between the goals that athletes have and the effort they're putting into these goals. It's easy to say you want to be a successful athlete. It's much more difficult to actually make it happen. If you have this kind of disconnect, you have two choices. You can either lower your goals to match the effort, or you can raise the effort to match your goals. There is no right or wrong answer here, but if you're truly motivated to be successful, you better make sure you're doing the work necessary to achieve your goals. There are several signs of low motivation: a lack of desire to practice as much as you should, less than 100% effort in training, skipping or shortening training, and effort that isn't consistent with your goals. You have to make sure that those symptoms aren't there in your training and competitive efforts. Prime motivation means putting 100% of your time, effort, energy, and focus into all aspects of your sport. It involves doing everything possible to become the best athlete you can be. Prime motivation begins with what I call the 3 Ds. The first D stands for direction. Before you can attain prime motivation, you must first consider the different directions you can go in your sport. you have three basic choices. You can stop participating completely, you can continue at your current level, or you can strive to be the best athlete you can be. The second D represents decision. With these three choices of direction, you have to select one direction in which to go. None of these directions are necessarily right or wrong, good or bad, better or worse. They're simply your options. Your choice, though, will dictate the amount of time and effort you put into your sport and how good an athlete you'll ultimately become. The third D stands for dedication. Once you've made your decision, you must dedicate yourself to that decision. If your decision is to become the best athlete you can be, then this last step, dedication, will determine whether you have prime motivation. Your decision to be the best and your dedication to your sport must be a top priority. Only by being completely dedicated to your direction and your decision will you ensure that you have prime motivation. There are few things more rewarding and motivating than setting a goal, putting forth effort to the goal, and achieving the goal. The sense of accomplishment and validation of this effort makes you feel good and motivates you to strive higher. It's valuable to establish clear goals of what you want to accomplish in your sport and how you'll achieve those goals. Seeing that your hard work leads to progress and results should motivate you further to realize your goals. To be your best, you have to put in a lot of time and effort into your sport. But as I noted above, there are going to be times, the grind, when you don't feel that motivated. When you feel this way, focus on your long-term goals. Remind yourself why you're working so hard. Imagine what you want to accomplish and tell yourself that the only way you'll be able to reach your goal is to continue to work hard. Try to generate the feelings of inspiration and pride that you'll experience when you reach your goals. This technique will distract you from the discomfort of the grind, focusing you on what you want to achieve, and generate positive thoughts and emotions that will get you through the grind. It's also difficult to be highly motivated all the time on your own. There are going to be some days when you just don't feel like getting out there. Also, no matter how hard you push yourself, you will never work as hard as you can compared to if you have somebody pushing you. That someone can be a coach, a personal trainer, or a parent. But the best person to have is a regular training partner, someone at about your level of ability with similar goals. You can work together to accomplish your goals. The chances are, on any given day, that one of you will be motivated. Even if you're not very psyched to practice on a particular day, you will still put out the time and effort because your partner is counting on you. Another way to keep yourself motivated is to focus on your greatest competitor. Identify who your biggest competition is and put his or her name or photo where you can see it every day. Ask yourself, am I working as hard as him or her? Remember that only by working your hardest will you have a chance to overcome your greatest competitor. A big part of staying motivated involves generating positive emotions associated with your efforts and achieving your goals. A way to keep those feelings is with motivational cues, such as inspirational phrases or photographs. If you come across a quote or a picture that moves you, place it where you can see it on a regular basis, such as in your bedroom, on your refrigerator door, or in your locker. Look at it periodically and allow yourself to experience the emotions it creates in you. These reminders and the emotions associated with them will inspire and motivate you to continue to work hard toward your goal. Also, every day you should ask yourself two questions. When you get up in the morning, ask, what can I do today to become the best athlete I can be? And before you go to sleep, ask yourself, did I do everything possible to become the best athlete I can be? These two questions will remind you on a daily basis of what your goals are and will challenge you to be motivated to become your best. A final point about motivation. The techniques I've just described are effective in increasing your short-term motivation. Motivation, though, is not something that can be given to you. Rather, motivation must ultimately come from within. You must simply want to train and compete. The bottom line is, to be successful and to achieve your goals, you just have to really want it bad. I'm Dr. Jim Taylor for Prime Sport Alert.